Hello, America. Today, we have been given proof, not for the first time, nor do I suspect the last, that we are under serious threat of fascism in our country. They're in our streets, but more dismayingly, they are in our government. They are in our city councils, and they're most certainly in our federal government. But I'd like to show you something that if you haven't seen, you really do need to see. But before we get there, I want to remind us of a few words of wisdom from the past. This is Ronald Reagan.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Ain't that the fact? Yeah, it is. Our liberal friends, and I use friends in the same way that I would, describe a rabid dog, gnawing on my testicles, are pushing to have an agenda, and their tactics are reminiscent of 1930s Berlin. They should all be wearing brown shirts and maybe squeaky from, embeddings in their foreheads, if you know who I'm talking about. You're as old as I am. But in any event, this is C.A. Johnson. C.A. Johnson is a member of the Michigan State Senate. She's not Senate, but state representatives. And she participated in the hearings that I had commentary on a couple of days ago. And the point of my particular view on it was not to demonstrate all the profound and preponderance of evidence of misdoings in the election in Detroit, Michigan in general, but rather to demonstrate how the Democrats treated the people who were coming out, often at great risk to themselves. And it was disgusting. This woman in particular intimidated a woman by using her chance for a single question to get exactly this woman's name, how it's spelled, when were you married, what was your birth name, and curiously, the chair said, okay, look, it was just nice. You want to know who she is. What's your question? He goes, oh no, that was my question. Well, why is it that you wanted her name? Is it because you wanted to intimidate her? Is it because you're going to dox her? Is it because you're going to send Antifa to her home to perhaps, blow it up with a mortar? Maybe you're going to have her children threatened or beaten. Yeah, it's very hyperbolic. They wouldn't do anything like that. Come on. This is America, right? Land of the free, mom, church, apple pie, all the things these fuckers hate. And they hate us more than anything else. But if you think I was being hyperbolic, and I thought I was at the time, oh no. This is what she posted to her Facebook page. Give it a listen. Give it a listen. I hope. Hold on for a second. All right, I think I have my ducks in a row now. Obviously, we're flying high on technical stuff here, right?
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay.
So for those of you who are soldiers, Antifa, BLM, the psychotic assholes that have been burning down our cities for the better part of a year, and people have said, they're the military arm of the Democratic Party. The fascists who were in power. And people said, no, 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 no. But our current wannabe vice president-elect, of course, was encouraging people to donate to the fund that they were using to bail these people out after they have rioted, looted, hurt people. Yeah. And now this woman in Detroit is calling her soldiers to make Trump supporters pay. Think about that. That is absolutely just unbelievably disgusting. And this is something that came out today because I wanted to show how the billionaire corporations are providing support to institutional fascism. This is YouTube's new policy supporting the 2020 US election and all the lies thereof. Okay? Basically what they're saying here, and you can read it at your own leisure if you can find it. By the way, if you do content and it's political, you better look, because some of the contributors got an email. Tim Pool got an email letting him know, hey, by the way, you might want to know this, because they like him. Okay, that's not an aspersion on Tim Pool. I like him too. I think he's great. He is very middle of the road, very careful in what he says, and because he's careful, he can tell us things that we might not have noticed, we might not know, and certainly might have a hard time digging up. So those that are angry at Tim Pool for not going rah rah, Trump's going to win, la 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 la, back off. Recognize what he's doing. He's fighting a fight he can win. Take a look, kids. We can't win this one. Okay? And by we, I'm talking about ordinary people. We're not going to win this. Ordinary content creators are not going to influence the election. The only thing we're going to do is get our balls shut off by these assholes at, to quote Dan Bongino, ScrewTube. I kind of like that. Assholes. Anyway, so the gist of it is, oh, by the way, I also wanted to mention that I heard Styx Hexenhammer 666, who's he's actually kind of a lefty, but he's a commentator. They didn't send him an email. He must not be on the approved list. He found out about it because one of his supporters said, hey, by the way, you might want to read the blog and find out how you're going to get your ass handed to you if you're not careful. And of course, both he and Dan Bongino, who have larger audiences, are saying, sure, I'm going to be careful. Fuck you, YouTube. By the way, here's the facts. So that's going to be interesting. Because the upshot of all of this is that if you talk about the election in terms of it being won through perfidy and old-fashioned electioneering, ballot stuffing, and fraud, to say nothing of the electronic segments of it, to say nothing of the possibility of, what are some of the ideas? Oh, yeah, China printing millions of ballots and sending them in. To say nothing of any of these things, because you must say nothing of any of these things, because if you do, well, you're going to get a strike, right? It'll be a soft strike. Sure it will. And then they're going to yank the video entire. And eventually they're going to yank your channel. Now, I have virtually no readership that I know of, but this makes me angry because it is fascist in the extreme. The people that are supposed to be protecting our freedom of speech are in fact pissing on our freedom of speech. They are helping those that would be fascist dictators take over our country. So I want to say a quick shout out to the state of Georgia. Vote. Vote like your nation and your future and the future of your children depend on it, because I assure you it does. Vote. You can also maybe, volunteer to make sure that the counting goes correctly. so that at least some of the things that are in question aren't in question for this next election. Do everything in your power as a citizen. And by the way, you have the right to a fair election. Make sure it happens. But the only way that it's going to matter is if you get off your ass and vote. Vote early, vote in person. And help. Help the process. Be patriotic. Do your citizens' duty to help ensure that we have a proper and fair election of these two very important seats in the Senate. We lose those, we're going to lose the Supreme Court. We lose the Supreme Court, we're done. And it's revolution time all over again. Because after they do that, they'll come after your right to bear arms. And once you no longer can defend your liberty and your life, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. Remember, let's remember, I want to hear this one more time because, I don't know, I'm a glutton for punishment, I think. Oh, I guess I'm not going to hear it. God, stupid thing.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay.
I have a better idea. Be a good citizen. Exercise all of your rights. Run for office. Peaceably assemble. Speak your mind on the internet, in the roadways. Own and know how to care for and use firearms. And by God, let's make them pay for every inch they want to take of our nation. I, for one, am not going to let it happen. Are you? God bless America, and goddamn fascists. Starting with C.A. Johnson.